I think that we need to understand that the economics of offensive cyber is changing right now. I mean, the abilities of the bad guys to really scale up their ability to do a lot of advanced persistent threats in parallel, and their ability to find more and more novel insights that they couldn't be done before really makes us as a security leaders or people that are taking care of cybersecurity, that we need a different approach. And the ability is really, for us, is finding the bad things before the bad guys will happen. It will find them. Traditional tools are incapable of doing it. So having all of the tools of the bad guys in finding issues, but also providing us, leveraging the context that we have on the internal network and how we are structured and what we have from IT and security perspective. So we will have the ability to move faster than the bad guys in fixing and mitigate issues before they can act.
Ido, thanks for making some time for me today.
Yeah, of course, Justin. Every time that you call me, I'm there, man.
Oh, too kind. Now, Ido Geffen, you're the co-founder and CEO of Novi, really driving innovation in that whole pen testing with AI pen testing. And I hate those terms in this category, but we'll get into that later. I really would like to rewind that wheel and go back to the beginning. Walk me through your origin story, how you got into this whole field and your career path, and then ultimately, how you thought about doing a startup. So walk me through the beginning stages of you being you.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not a classic, in a way, like a cybersecurity entrepreneur in Israel. I didn't start in A200. So during the military, I was a warrior in elite engineering combat unit that is specialized in finding tunnels in Gaza Strip. And I've been there as a paramedic and a warrior for 4 years. And during those years, I was really starting to appreciate the amount of intelligence that we're being able to get from the Israeli security agency. And after the military, I started a computer science degree. And as a student, I tried to be elected to the Israeli security agency, and I was lucky enough to get in to the cyber unit. Mm-hmm. So my dream back then was that I will be able to get, provide a very good intelligence to people like me that are in the military and really need it in real time, in a very high quality. So I've been there for almost a decade, and this is where I really learned the basics of cybersecurity and got a very good expertise in that. Mm-hmm. I was even getting the Prime Minister of Israel reward for an operation that I was leading for a few years.
Wow.
And this is why, like, one of my top moment in my career. Like every time that I'm going to my mom's house, so I have a picture of me and shaking the hands of the Prime Minister, and she's like so proud.
Oh my God. Do you have like brothers and sisters, siblings?
So I have a brother and sisters that are older than me. Yeah.
So when you go back to your mom's house, do you drag them along with you to look at the photo together as a whole family?
Yeah, let's see who is the best talent here in the company.
That's right.
In the family. To be honest, I always try to be I try to be around persons, and even in high school, I was a folklore dancer. So I did dancing for 6 years, and so I tried to do a lot of different things, and I did find my destiny.
Wait, what kind of dancing?
Folklore. It's like different countries' types of dancing.
Really?
Yeah. And
see, I grew up in Germany. Did you do any of the German like dancing, the old Lederhosen?
Yeah,
oh,
definitely.
I'm so sorry. Oh, that's horrible.
No, but I tell you what, it was a great way for me as a teenager. That most of the dancers, so they're like girls that looks very, very good. So it's a very good way to know, like, with dancers. So I really enjoyed it. We even had a trip to the US that we did like a tour in different cities in the US performing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a really good experience back then. So this is a little bit about my origin, and but I found my destiny in cyber. Like honestly, like I think that I got the best training in the world. It's a great organization, the Israeli Security Agency, and you're really working with the top-notch people. Everyone with, you really feel that you're doing something very special and important for your country, for your people. And during those years, this is where I've met Omer. He's currently my CTO. He's a Talpiot program graduate, and he was a team leader in my group, sorry. And Gon, the third co-founder, the chief product officer, he was in A200 during those years.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of us are very good friends since then, like 15 years back. And many of our founding team today are people that are work with us during those days.
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest, in a way, this is where Novi started, because a lot of what we're doing today with AI when it comes to penetration testing, a lot of this expertise, the modus operandi of how we operate, the bonding that we have with the people that are working with us, it's a lot of that we got from those years working together. Under a very high stress, long hours, including weekends. So in a lot of ways, it's a very, very good atmosphere to prepare you for a startup. Because in general, like, it's a very large organization, but what I was shocked and like really appreciate that even as as an employee in this organization, you always can be heard and come with initiatives and with new types of ideas. Like the organization is very flat in a way. Like, and I think that many of the way that this type of organization works, very quickly, a lot about innovation, a lot of hours, and all of those aspects are really simulates in a very, very good way a lot of aspects of startups. So I think in a lot of ways, not only Novi, but in general, the Israeli cybersecurity startups, like really booming, and because you have a very good examples on how it should look like. So the origins of Novi is really on those days. The three of us working together are really good friends. And 9 years ago, I moved to the private sector. I've been in 3 different cybersecurity startups. And in September 2024, it was when O1, the first reasoning model of O1 was released. And the 3 of us, Omer, Gon, and myself, understood that there is something significant that can be done with this type of new AI tooling. And specifically when it comes to offensive security, we did a POC. We tried to solve all kind of capture the flag challenges, utilizing O1, which back then was the only reasoning model that you could work with, and add to that the right tools, prompt engineering, and injecting to the memory of an agent very good examples and knowledge base that it can learn from and getting more context. And we were pretty shocked from the fact that we were able to solve real capture the flag challenges. That if you will tell us, solve this challenge, we know how to solve it as humans, but we don't know how to write a Python script, for example, that knows how to solve it without giving it instruction in advance on what to do. Because pretty early on, you're getting into a situation that you have infinite numbers of options on where should I go now, or what can I do now, and you cannot do any more, like traditional code of if else. Like you have again infinite numbers of options, and then this is where you need some kind of an intuition, and we did find a way utilizing those really state of the art AI models to leverage those in order to solve this type of problems. And we did understand that this is the right timing for a real, something very new that you couldn't done before, doing penetration testing in the level of the best experts in the world, but in a machine speed in continuous way.
So before we jump into that, go back. What were the other startups that you worked in before founding Novi?
Yeah, sure. So the first one, I joined very, very early on. Like I was the first employee in the company. The company named CyberMDX. We did cybersecurity for hospitals and medical devices back then. So for me, it was like a very good combination because I was a paramedic in the army, and I was really between going to be a doctor and going to be like computer science, two things that I really like. So for me, it really was a combination that of cyber and the medical world.
Yeah.
And during those years, I really learned that I really like the outbound activities. So sales, going to conferences in the US.
Yeah.
And this is why I transitioned to the US. I was living in New York City.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. Even my second daughter was born in New York City. So it's and so I've been there for 4 years, and we were acquired by Scout. Then I moved to Orca Security, a cloud security company.
Yeah.
It was a really great journey in Orca. I really, it's the first time that I really felt what it means being in a startup that have a product market fit. Like the growth in the beginning from $5 to $50 million happened very, very quickly. And I think it's a company that's really solving until today a real pain. There was a big transition to the cloud, and the ability to do cloud security in an agentless manner was very, very unique back then. And after that, I moved to Oasis Security, a non-human identity company. And in September 2024, this is when me, Omer, and Gon said, okay, this is our time. Like there is.
So you saw that opportunity because LM's coming out and that reasoning capability. What was that journey look like from, hey, here's something that I think we can do, to that seed check founding? Did you talk with a lot of security leaders on what you wanted to do, or hey, you already knew it and you're just going to drive into it? What happened?
Yeah, so I mean, good question. So in the beginning, like we understood that there is a technological shift. Okay, but now comes the question of what we can really, what is the real pain that we can really solve now, because we want to build a business. We don't, I mean, this is like the aim of startups, right? So, first of all, we came up with a very big vision. Like we call the company Novi, which is like an acronym of no vulnerabilities exploitation ever. Like we will solve the problems of vulnerabilities in cyber. Yeah.
Oh. Well, you got to get T-shirts with the N.O. in the acronym format, no?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like it. Yeah, we do it. I will send you this swag.
This is what you get when you talk to me. Value add. This is what happens.
That's true. Yeah. Until now, it's works perfectly. I agree. So we said to ourselves, okay, we do understand that there is a unique technology, like a very broad vision, but what is the current pains and where we should start? So what we did is in meetings with more than 40 different cybersecurity experts, mostly in North America. And we came with a pretty simple methodology. We built the presentations, 3 slides, that's it. The first slide is a very bold statement, which was something around your offensive security program is broken, and this is why you're an easy target for hackers or something like that. Because we had a thesis that something is broken with offensive security, but we want to crystallize it better, to distill, the root causes.
Yep.
So this was the first slide, and then we spent most of the time, 20, even 30 minutes around it. Do you agree with that, Mr. CISO? And 80-90% of the time, the answer was yes. And then, okay, so how are you trying to handle with it today? What are the different tools that you have today? And why do you think that it's true? Do you think that is this problem is just going to grow, or it's going to stay the same? And then the next slide was, okay, now that we've discussed about this topic, let's try to understand together what are the 4 root causes for this bold statement and why. Okay, you agree with us. We try to analyze a little bit the situation today. And we found out that there was very consistent two root causes that repeated themselves very, very, like 90% of the times and even more. One is I have a lot of different scanners, dust tools, dynamic application security testing for my apps. I have like external exposure scanners. I have the classical vulnerability scanners like Rapid7 and Qualys. That works in continuous fashion, but really lack any intuition and provide me tons of false positive. And they don't really have the ability to find novel vulnerabilities. And then if you are as a security practitioner want to put the bar higher, then we are choosing to allocate budget for manual penetration testing or red teaming exercises, which sometimes provide novel insights, but it's really just point in time. And so this was very consistent that people, especially organizations that do care from security, that are not doing penetration testing only for compliance, check the box.
Yeah.
They are willing to pay for it. They are looking for very good solutions. And if you will be able to do it in continuous way, it will be a dramatic shift and something that couldn't be done before. And then the third slide was, let's say that we were able to build this amazing machine. Where do you want it to work? Like you need to put a flag. You want it in the CI/CD. You want it in production. You want it in the cloud, on the on-prem, third parties, etc. And it was also here. It was not consistent as before. I mean, there were people that put it. I want to do penetration testing for my AI agents. I want to do penetration testing, but the common sense was I want to do penetration testing for my web applications. And then came the question, okay, why this is the first place? And there was two reasons for that. Number one is organizations today generate much more code with vibe coding and AI assistant tools for developers. And attackers are starting also to leverage AI. So CISOs are back then were expecting them to start at least focus on the things that are external exposed, which is many times the web applications. So based on those three slides and very consistent responses, we understood that if we will be able to build a penetration testing capabilities in a human level and a good place to start is in web applications. This is where we went to YL and other funds that we've met with this thesis that we are going to revolutionize the space of penetration testing with AI.
Got it. So it's a really interesting market. I remember when you and I first talked, and I don't know if you and I talked about it, but it was, pen testing is a kind of a human-oriented boutique kind of thing. I get it. The advancing automation into that would be amazing. But it wasn't that exciting. But it wasn't until over that weekend that I really sat down and thought about what I would call the three different components that are really in this, like vulnerability discovery plus human component of that. You've got the red team, penetration testers in one box. You've got the vulnerability scanners. We've got a couple of large companies in there. Then you've got this DAST market, really for, A and B plus maybe a CI/CD pipeline kind of integration, QA testing kind of process. But if you combine all three of those, oh man, that's pretty awesome. Is that how you're thinking about it, or is it completely different?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that it also was part of our discovery calls. After that, we came up with this idea. So we said, let's say that you have your own white hat hacker, that your friendly white hat hacker that works for you. What you'd like it to do. So it was really like you described. I would like this person or team that works for me to come from the outside, like real hackers, discover all of my external exposed assets, understand what are the entry points into my organization, find me known vulnerabilities that I should patch, but also novel vulnerabilities, maybe something in my business logic, and then move forward, finding a way maybe to do a lateral movement inside the corporate, etc. So, and if you think about it, until today, because of the limitation of the technology, or the abilities of people to really scale, because this is exactly what we are seeing here, that there is a very unique opportunity here. And this is, by the way that hackers are working, right? I mean, they're combining a lot of different methodologies and a lot of different aspects of cyber in order to find a way to penetrate in. So I definitely agree with you that it becomes very interesting once you understand that the segmentation that was until today in offensive security can be removed. So you can really build here a real platform or a one-stop tool that works like a real hacker, that is very creative, doesn't stop between boundaries because, okay, now it's, and try to move forward and leverage basically everything that, that they have in their hands, right, in their disposal, in order to try to find an entry point.
Yeah. So there you are. You started your fundraise, and the team's building. Starting to build the product. I would imagine those conversations that you had, trying to figure out where you want to focus, and then maybe soft pitching this idea of one of many. As well as in how do you get those first design partners? What was that engagement like? I mean, for me, it's, oh my God, I can understand a scanner that would not go into exploitation, right? But we're really talking about the exploitation, or in the fuzziness of identifying unknown vulnerabilities. That therein lies the concern around operational impact, right? Was that a big push? Was that something that you saw in those early days, or not so much?
Yeah, good question. Overall, I mean, many times we are finding organizations that tell us, listen, I mean, you're targeting our web applications, so what you can do, any other bad guy can do. So it's better that you will find it before they will do it. But there are organizations that are a little bit more concerned. So you can definitely deploy us in staging environment, or so it's not. So we didn't find it as a very big obstacle until now. And in general, what we have found, this is why you also, I think, like raised very quickly the A round, because we were able to attract pretty quickly a few dozens of customers. And so the movement from design partners to paying customers was very, very quick on that front. So we do feel that there is a real need today in the market.
Sure.
And once you're really showing a very good results, and the ability to move very, very quickly with you is pretty unique, I think, in this space. Like a very easy deployment and quick time to value. So.
Well, I'm kind of fascinated because I started out many moons ago doing attack and penetration work, and you do your footprinting, your discovery, your exploitation, and you kind of go through that cycle. But embedding it into a fully autonomous kind of capability, there's concerns about taking down the service, of course, but then there's how do you mirror that complexity of whatever tech it is, what all the exploits are, how to analyze them, even how to find unknowns? How did you build out that beginning component of the solution?
Yeah. So basically what we did is, once we started it, we said, we have the state-of-the-art LLMs today that are really great and evolving all the time. And you can think about it as a brain of a person. This brain is with 180 IQ, but it doesn't really have any experience or expertise or capabilities when it comes to offensive security. So what we decided to do is really mimic the same way that we train hundreds of different penetration testers. And how does it work? So let's say, Justin, you are a young person, a very smart person. You can argue.
I'm neither one of those. Yeah,
but back then, right, you were a young, motivated person, and also pretty smart. And then, but in order to get you into a phase that you will be a very good penetration tester, what you will need to have is very good tools or to be familiar with a lot of different tools, be familiar with techniques on how to find vulnerabilities, and also train you with giving you a lot of good examples that you can learn from.
Yeah.
If you think about it, this is how you train penetration testers. So our architecture really mimics the same thing. Like we have an MCP server that contains thousands of tools. The techniques that many times only we know, we are articulating ourselves, our research team, the cyber expert in the team, into prompts. And we are collecting a lot of very good examples in our knowledge base. So once the agent is trying, for example, to exploit an SQL injection vulnerability or cross-site scripting or any other types of vulnerability, we have the option to inject to the memory of the agent a very good examples. So now it's come a lot of AI engineering, let's call it, or agent engineering, because it's not a one agent. It's a hive mind of AI agents that are communicating with one another. And you have a router that supervises on all of those and sharing data with one another. And how do you manage the context window of each one of those? And how you're dealing with initiations and how you validate that things are real and what is not. And how you are fine tuning it over time and how you're augmenting it with more inputs or external context that you're getting from the user. But in a very high level, the methodology was really around treating it as a brain and giving it the experience that you need to have as a penetration tester.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, the analogy that we had, I mean, you can think about it that, I mean, ChatGPT knows all of the rules of chess, right? I mean, it's, but still, ChatGPT is not the best chess player in the world. Like you have, if you look on how Deep Blue and other was trained, is really with a lot of good examples and try to play the game many times and so different permutations. It's not only by just reading the rules of the game, right?
So you really had to create. Yeah, you really had to create your own training capabilities for the tools, or at least the access to the tools and knowledge of the tools. You had to create your own corpus data of all exploitations, all fingerprinting kind of attributes, et cetera, to kind of pull it into a real world scenario training capability of a full process, or more of that circular kind of loop process. Was it easy to do, or was it more complicated or harder to pull together than you expected? Or
so both, to be honest. I mean, there are. I mean, in the beginning, the start is very it's pretty amazing. Like you can get into very unique results pretty quickly. I mean, because the agents today, the way that they architecture, the LLMs themselves, like really like brilliant. So the beginning is promising, but then you are starting to get very quickly to a lot of very big challenges of, as I mentioned before, context management and also pricing issues about tokens. And this is where we are really we have today in the team, the guy that our head of AI was for 7 years and employee number 5 in AI21, which is a company that tried to compete with ChatGPT. And he was the VP of platform over there. We have few PhDs. So like when you really start to fine tuning it and being able to get into the level that you're able to really understand the logic of the application with the agents and finding novel vulnerabilities that are business logic, this is where things are starting to be very complex. So yeah, so on that front, when it comes to AI, we really feel that we are doing, I mean, we are in on the hardest thing that being done today in like the best labs in the world today, of OpenAI, Anthropic and others, like reinforcement learning and massive training at scale and building simulations environments. So all of those things are not trivial, and you have a very small amount of people in the world that can do it. So this is why we're getting such a good results that are pretty unique, that like say that just a person from the street can get.
So I know we kind of jumped into it, but I'll ask my typical questions. What is Novi?
So Novi is the best hacker in the world. That is also the best AI defender in the world. So Novi knows how to detect novel vulnerabilities in complex environments and personalizing defense mechanisms at the same time. So this is the unique aspect. We do understand that from working with hundreds of enterprise environment customers in the past, they're just showing more new issues. It's just another headache if you're not really giving me the ability as a practitioner to solve it quickly. So I think it's a very unique, yeah. Sorry.
I really want to dig into the defense, but before we do that, I want to ask, what does an integration look like? So there I am, a hypothetical new customer. I'm ready to kind of, let's say I'm doing a POV, or I'm ready. I signed on the dotted line. What's next?
Yeah. So let's sign an NDA. Seriously, signing an NDA, give us an access to the application that you would like us to test, and that's it, basically. It's
for
very
internal.
easy.
What if it was an external website? Of course, the contract that has an NDA and everything into it, as well as a check because I'm paying for things.
Yeah, so it's just signing an NDA. We are, yeah. And from there, yeah.
No, and then what do? Do I go to I get an account on your service and configure my IP addresses sort of thing? Or what does that look like?
Yeah, so you can define some kind of guardrails if you like. I mean, how quickly, if you want to put like rate limits to how quickly we are working. You can put, for example, adding headers. So every request that we will do, your SOC team will know that it's Novi. We can provide you static IP addresses, so you will know that this is Novi and not something malicious that's now happening. But other than that, it's basically that's all that it takes. Like from there, we are mimicking the same way that real hackers are working, and in a matter of few hours, few days, you will start to see what we were able to cover and the issues that we were able to detect, and also guiding you on how to remediate or mitigate.
And so you also brought up potential internal websites that I want to, or a subdomain or whatever that might be as part of my CI/CD pipeline or standard QA testing. Is that a different type of integration?
Yeah, I mean, if you would like to integrate us into your CI/CD process, this is great. You just need to configure it so we will be notified every time that you're doing a pull request, for example. And so we will have an access to the code, and then we'll be able to test only the delta of what has changed. So one of the best practices in our perspective is let's do a one thorough assessment on what you currently have in production. Let's find the critical issue that you currently have. But from now on, let's work in a continuous way that we will integrate it into your CI/CD, and we will be able to, every time that you have a change, we will be able to test specifically this change. So you will be able to see that you are secured, and the things that have been changed are being checked as soon as possible before they're getting into production.
Now, going back to something that you brought up earlier in regards to defense, does that integration into the code base also relate to your point that you were making earlier? Or maybe a better way of asking, what did you mean by, hey, we can help solve these problems for you, not just find more?
Yeah, so we're looking for an unfair advantage of what we can do compared to the bad guys. And what we have is a relationship, a very good relationship with the organization that we are working with, right? I mean, as a hacker, you are trying to collect as much information as you can possibly, like everything that you can do in order to gather information. But we are working in collaboration with the organization that we are protecting on. So we can have an unfair advantage on the sense that we can understand from them in advance what is the ground rules, what is the technological stack that they have, and then really being to personalize the defense mechanism to their specific technological stack. and we can have an access to the code that the bad guys hopefully doesn't have yet. And then being able to highlight issues very, very quickly and giving you a specific instructions on change this line of code in this function in order to remediate this issue. And this way, this quick ability to understand about, oh, I have new issue. This is how should I mitigate or remediate it. And then you're getting faster compared to the bad guys. That they don't have this feedback loop or all of this understanding of what's happening in the customer environment in advance.
How do I connect? Let's say, and I apologize about this. I have an IP address for an external web page, and I've got a code repo of that code for it. How do I link the two together in Novi so you know when you scan X, this is a code repo to be able to do that compare and contrast?
Yeah, so basically as part of the, when you start a new assessment or in general, when you do the onboarding, part of what you're telling us is, here is my domain, and now you can give us more knowledge. For example, here are credentials, or this is how you should authenticate to this application. And one of the questions that we are asking you is, what is the repo that is connected to this application? And then this is how we know. So it's...
Is it just a code repo, or is it other types of data like, build documents, architecture documents, or, could I point it to a G drive of all of that, secured AppSec security content as well as engineering content for context?
Yeah, definitely. So part of the knowledge base that we are collecting, and this is one of the cool stuff, let's call it, around LLMs, is the ability to digest a lot of unstructured data. So, and access to the code, something like it's really not a must from our end. So yeah, any network architecture, or if you have a documentation, or even, Jira tickets from the past, like all of those can be digested, and we are more than happy to get any more context that can be provided. And then the agent really improved based on that. And so,
wait, if you're ingesting Jira tickets, you could probably say, hey, they said they fixed problem X, but we see it 15 other places, and we were able to exploit it 15 other places on the site itself. Kind of concepts. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, many times. I mean, we also we have few examples that we are now having in our blog post and adding it. A lot of examples that researchers of ours were able to find a specific vulnerability in an app. And then after that we're adding this logic and the right tooling to the agent, it's capable of defining 15 more vulnerabilities or even zero-day vulnerabilities. So yeah, definitely if we know in advance, and this is also something that we really like to do, is the ability to know about past issues that you have, and then let's validate that it doesn't come back. Or maybe you found it in one place, but you have this type of problem in other places. This is definitely a strength of what we're currently doing.
So this is a fairly new technology with a lot of, I would call buzzword labeling with AI in a marketing sense across the industry. Is there data? If I was a customer to say, are you better or worse than the human pen testers that we are currently paying money, or maybe even my own team that we're funding? Yes, I get you're constantly doing the scanning, the always on automation, but are you really identifying 0 days, et cetera, et cetera? Is there data that you can point to show that the technology has matured to that point?
Yeah. So, I mean, we are starting to, putting in our blog a lot of good examples, but I think in the end, the way I say it, the proof is in the pudding. So for us, the big, like is, hey, Mr. Potential Customer, we are here to help you. You already did penetration testing, so you have your latest report, so you have a benchmark. Put Novi under the same, give us the same application. and you will see that the deployment was much easier, faster, and you are more than welcome to say that we will find things that the other guys didn't find, and we did it faster, deeper, and wider. Yeah. So, and by the way, part of the team also, like the people that support the customers are really top notch people. Like we have Omri was the number one in the leaderboard of HackerOne for the last few years. Bar was for the last 9 years was leading the strategic Israeli red teaming, doing hands-on red teaming to the Iron Dome and Israeli Air Force. Omer and a lot of other people in our team, like really expert in this field.
Yeah.
So we are working in the end with customers, and we are helping them and guiding them from our knowledge. And so you have this very unique mix, because I do feel that currently, let's put aside AI and everything, and like we have the best penetration testing. We are the best penetration testing company in the world. So if you would like us, we can also do for you manual penetration testing and giving you a report that you can show to your auditor. So like, it's not that you need to choose between the really new technology compared to the human aspect of it. So, yeah.
Well, I think what I like is, I've started to see in the bug bounty programs, the automation tools starting to get to like in the top 5, if not the top 1. And I think NIST, not NIST, I think maybe DARPA ran a program between last RSA and now of trying to identify the efficacy of automated vulnerability discovery tools. So I think those, and it's been a while since I've taken a look at it, but I think those are 2 things that might be interesting to kind of bring up in regards to just industry wide for the listeners of saying, is this real or is this hype, right? Those are data points. I agree. Hey, easy, a POV with, an external vulnerability scan type of a tool, whether automated or not, or advanced or not, is a fairly low bar to kind of really, here's my URL or IP address. Go ahead and scan, show me the results. Yeah. But the interesting thing I didn't know is the integration with the code repos and other directories to really pull together not only better analysis on how to perform the attack, but also, hey, here's where we're finding the problem in code so you can actually fix it, right? And so that's more than just, a vulnerability red teaming, pen testing kind of thing, at least that I've done in the past, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in the end, this aspect that you can work with that the same way that you're doing with ChatGPT, right? It's over time, once you're providing it more context and speak with it more, it's really evolving and providing you better results that is specifically for you. So like the problem with automation until today, and like, let's say dust tools, they're just starting to try to fuzz everything that is related. Like everything in your app doesn't matter if what the app is doing. Like on that front, what we're building is very, very different on the spec. It will test things that are really relevant to your specific application. It will not try to fuzz everything, and I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And you're also getting tons of false positive, and also many times, like, it's really, like a kind of a denial of service attack, because it's really like exhausting the API of the system in every front. So you can really now do it differently.
You've alluded to like 0 days and other things in this conversation. In reality, with your customers and the POVs that you've done, have there been surprises of, hey, I didn't expect that in reality, when solution meets reality, right? And I think the second one is, what is the reality of finding 0-day vulnerabilities in solutions if somebody has gone through all of the pen testing, red teaming, their own scanners, et cetera? Are you able to still find those problems there? Maybe those would be the 2 questions to kind of ask next.
Yeah. So I don't remember, almost any POV that we did or deployment that we didn't find novel insights that the customer knew in advance. Like, because of how deep it goes, it's almost always finding that, not always, critical stuff, but it is finding things that were unknown before, that are relevant and needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm. Any shock and ahs from your current customer base that you didn't expect? Leave their names out of this, of course.
Of course. I think that the fact that we are finding a lot of issues that is related to the ability to gather data from one user to one user that can see the data of another user. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if you're an insurance company or other company. It is something that we are finding pretty common, and it was very hard to detect until today, because automatic tools doesn't have this ability to understand, oh, now I'm seeing data of Ido and not of Justin. And for people, there's a lot of permutations that you need to try here. That is, so not a lot of penetration testers are even capable of detecting these type of issues. So I think this is an example of an area that we do find a very interesting result. And it's also most of the time with a high severity with those types of things, because in most apps, you don't want user A will be able to see the data of user B. If it's an insurance policy or health status or credit card number, doesn't matter. So we are finding many interesting aspects of those types of, it's called Ido or BOLA vulnerabilities.
Interesting. So I have to ask, and again, another staple question that I go to, you've got a really interesting landscape of competitors. You've got incumbents, you've got different market segments, you've got a whole bunch of things. You've got new competitive startups, of course, right? How do you differentiate when you say what is different about Novi? What is that differentiation?
Yeah. So first of all is the core of the product, the fact that we are training our own AI model, giving us results that no one else can provide, because our model is, and it's very hard to achieve it, is trained and specialized in finding vulnerabilities. It's really fine-tuned for that. So the ability for us to find novel insights that other cannot find is very unique. The second thing is the fact that, okay, we found this insight, but now we are also personalizing the fixes. So we are here with you. We are not just another alerts machine. We will give you steps to replicate so you can validate that it's a true positive. And then because of this very unique capability that the team have in AI and offensive cyber, then it gives us the ability to really move very quickly, and at least in the beginning, with a very low amount of previous knowledge. So we don't have an access to the code or stuff like that. So the deployment is so easy. So it's much easier to move forward with us very, very quickly and really test the technology.
Very interesting. What's the one thing you want the audience to take away from, if there was one thing?
That's a good question. I think that we need to understand that the economics of offensive cyber is changing right now. The abilities of the bad guys to really scale up their ability to do a lot of advanced persistent threats in parallel, and their ability to find more and more novel insights that they couldn't be done before, really makes us as a security leaders or people that are taking care of cybersecurity, that we need a different approach. And the ability is really, for us, is fighting the bad things before the bad guys will find them. And traditional tools are incapable of doing it. So we need again to come up with this, that we have an unfair advantage compared to the bad guys. So I think having all of the tools of the bad guys in finding issues, but also providing us, leveraging the context that we have on the internal network and how we are structured and what we have from IT and security perspective. So we will have the ability to move faster than the bad guys and fixing and mitigate issues before they can act. So
that's awesome. Well, I gotta ask, it's gotta feel great, doing your startup, is going very well. If memory serves, I think you recently just raised another round that got published. I think it was
Right.
fairly large, right?
Yeah, so we were raising more than $50 million in 4 months. And yeah, like I think that, I mean, Omer, Gon, and myself and the team that we have with us, we really feel that we are the best team in the world to solve this type of problem. We are feeling the momentum, and in the end, the fact that we have, we are very focused on, in the end, to deliver very good results to our customers. And like this is the motto of the company in the end. Like the people that are working with us really believe and feel that we are providing them value, we are protecting them, and we will do whatever it takes in order to keep this reputation.
That's awesome. If somebody in the audience wanted to get in touch with you, learn more, do a POV, whatever, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, so you can just direct message me over LinkedIn. Or you can submit, book a demo in the website. But I would be more than happy to be contacted directly. I mean, especially new people that are interested in the company and what we are doing. Most of the time, I want to take the first meeting by myself to hear what their interests. I mean, this is the best way for me to make sure that I'm connected to the market, to what people are looking for. So, yeah.
Well, you got 50 or so million. You got to build out that sales team. You got to put that money to work and get a head of sales to kind of, reach out and touch somebody over in the customer, right?
Yeah. So we will publish soon. We really hired a very unique VP of sales.
Oh, congrats.
That we definitely feel that this is the right person for us to scale it up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, because we feel that we have a very unique opportunity here. And we want to get as quickly as possible to as much organization as possible, so we will be able to protect them as soon as possible. So yeah, this is...
And that's Novi.com or?
.security. Novi, Novee. Yeah.
Novee. .security. Perfect. And Ido Geffen, Geffen, for our audio listeners, to be able to find you on LinkedIn and then hit you up with massive DMs. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. Do you get a lot of those LinkedIn spam messages that seem to be floating around nowadays?
Yes. I'm getting a lot of those. But also very interesting people that are I'm making sure at least once in a day to look on all of the messages that I'm getting, and because
you're too kind.
Yeah.
I get a lot of random messages. I don't know. I don't mean to bang on LinkedIn, but whatever. Hey, tell the guys I said hi. Of course. Congratulations on everything. The fundraise was great, and you guys are going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure that I will keep meeting you during an amazing event. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
All right.
Thanks,
Ido.